Lincoln is a 5-year-old flat coat retriever, an air scent dog, and already a big-time hero in our book. Jon Izant, Lincoln's two-legged partner, is our special guest today. Welcome to Spirit 105.3, Jon. Thanks for being here.
You're most welcome.
How does Lincoln feel about being nominated for Hero Dog of the Year?
He's really excited, but truth be told, he gets pretty excited about going for a hike. He gets pretty excited about dinner. He gets pretty excited about everything.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. So how does Lincoln help people, Jon?
Lincoln is part of King County Search Dogs, which is an all-volunteer group that helps King County Sheriff and other law enforcement agencies when they need search dogs to help people. Lincoln is what's known as an air scent dog, which means he's looking for live people. He also has qualifications to look for human remains when we have to do recovery missions. It, as mentioned, is an all-volunteer group. We pay for our own vet bills. We raise money for some of the communications equipment we need, and we're part of the larger King County Search and Rescue organization that includes ground searchers, mountain rescue, and that sort of thing. And when there is someone who is lost, what Lincoln and I do is to go out, usually with other dog teams, and see if we can find them. So an air scent dog doesn't need a hat or a glove to find someone. They go out and they're looking for any person, and they're trained to just find people, to ignore deer, other dogs, and everything like that. And because they work off leash, Lincoln often roams out in the woods 100, 200, or 300 yards away from me. So the reason it takes so long to train and certify a dog is Lincoln is trained to go find someone, then come back to me to indicate that he's found someone, and he pulls on a little ball that's attached to my belt. And then he leads me out to the person, a little bit like Lassie coming back and telling everyone that Timmy's fallen in the well.
Wow.
And he only gets his reward toy when the handler, me, and the subject are next to each other. We are called out as a group about 50 times a year. It's everything from people who are lost along in the Alpine Lakes wilderness up in the Cascades, down to people in housing developments in Seattle and Bellevue. He's quite a versatile dog.
What was it that made you decide to team up with Lincoln specifically?
Well, Lincoln is a flat-coated retriever, which is an older style of retriever. They were originally bred for both water retrieving and also for upland game work. And they're quite rugged in terms of working in the woods. I happen to love the breed. It's the third one that my wife and I have had. And so when we were looking for Lincoln, we worked with a breeder saying that we wanted a dog who would have the energy and the drive to do search and rescue, because it is demanding, both from, if you will, a dog intellect point of view. So the dog needs to be trainable. And we've had missions where, according to his GPS collar, Lincoln has covered as much as 26 miles in a day. So you need a pretty sturdy dog.
It's a marathon.
And absolutely. And I can guarantee you I didn't cover that same distance.
Yeah.
And the breeder selected Lincoln out of the litter for being energetic, a little bit precocious, and it's turned out to be a really good fit because the stubbornness that is also part of this breed gives them a bit of persistence. So when he's ranging off leash, he knows what he needs to do, he can operate on his own, and he knows what to do once he's found someone. So it's a nice match.
You know, our dog is a flat-coated retriever mix, and she's very persistent about having her belly rubbed.
Absolutely. Lincoln is persistent about everything he wants.
So, Jon, what's the best mission you and Lincoln ever went on together?
Well, I will confess that I had been warned by one of the people who had formed King County Search Dogs that you never forget the first mission where you make a live find, and that's still true. So last year, Lincoln and I were called out, along with some other dogs and ground searchers, in the middle of the night to try and find an elderly person with dementia who had walked away from their house. And we arrived, and there were ground searchers working. There were some other dogs who had tried working. And so Lincoln and I should say I had two other support people with me because we always deploy with other folks to help with safety and communications. Started working through the neighborhood, and Lincoln was going sort of house to house, looking around, and About 15 minutes into our search, he darted behind a house and came running out. He was incredibly excited. At night, we have headlamps on, so to him, we all looked like people walking around with headlamps. So he actually ran up to someone different initially, couldn't find his little indicator toy, came running over to me, indicated energetically, and then ran back down behind the house. And sure enough, that's where the person was, and we were able to reunite them with their family very quickly and save her from being out in the cold and rain for the rest of the night.
That is just remarkable. What did that feel like, John, to be a part of that?
Well, there's a lot of training that goes into this. Most of it's for the handler because dogs have been doing this for 40,000 years. So you first start worrying about the subject and you do an initial medical assessment and you get in people with more medical skills and police if they're there or family to help out with things. And then, we pull the dog away usually because all someone who is confused needs is an energetic over them. And it's more when you go back to your car and you sit down for a second and you realize what your dog has just done. It's kind of overwhelming. We train 1 to 3 times a week, and we go through the routine constantly. So Lincoln is really attuned at going out, finding someone, and coming back. And he thinks it's all the same. But when you realize you've done this for real, it's an amazing experience.
That's awesome. Thank you for what you do.
Well, we have to thank the entire community for the support we get. We have some wonderful donors who help us, other people who help us in many other ways, and couldn't do it without it.
Amazing. Well, before we let you go here, John, is there something Lincoln likes to do in his spare time when he's not being a hero?
Well, he loves to hike. He loves to play fetch. He loves to swim. He loves to eat dinner, and he loves to nap. So Lincoln's pretty much like every other dog.
Or like me, too. I like all of those things.
Do you play fetch?
No. That's where we part company, John.
Okay. He's really good at fetch and loves to go running, swimming out in the water to get his tennis ball.
Well, John from King County Search Dogs, thank you so much for catching the spirit. We really appreciate you and Lincoln.
Thank you so much for having us on.